the fear. Experience the evil. Tongue pop with trepidation. You're listening to Terror from the Closet.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. We are officially titled Terror from the Closet, inspired by some amazing, by the way, amazing artwork, Toby. Toby did all of that. Yes, because, it just really reminded me about those 80s horror posters and Goosebumps covers.
Yeah, I was definitely inspired by Goosebumps, and you had showed me a couple book covers that you were inspired by as well. Thanks. I worked on it for like a week or so, and I hated it. Like, I got to, I think it was this past Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe it was Wednesday, and I was like not happy with it. I hadn't fully colored it and like kind of gone in and edited more of it, and I had a couple shots on, I think maybe it was Wednesday night, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna finish it, and if I still hate it, I'll delete it. No one will know. I'll start again. And then I finished it, and I was like, okay, maybe it's not. And then I showed it to you, and I was like, okay, he's gonna hate it. If he hates it, I'm gonna delete it. I knew I was right, and then
No.
But now I like it, and Brian was like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah. Okay, because you have like a very, very unique style, and it's always been very like, well, not like realistic, but like cartoony. Like obviously it's as a drawing. Mm-hmm. This legitimately looks like the base painting for like Drew Struzan. So like if you like made fan art posters in that style, oh my god!
Because I stick to like my whatevers that I normally do, but that was like I branched out, or I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I came out better than I thought. I think I'm gonna try and do other stuff like that.
You know what you should do, just for fun? You should like create like a poster for like our film. The did you hear that? Can you imagine?
Oh, shit.
You know, just like in that like hyper real, because the way the hand looks and just oh my god.
Okay.
Like can you imagine like the close up of your face like. And then, like in the background is like the hallway or something, you know. Just I don't know.
Cool.
I think you can have fun with that.
That would be cool.
Great. And
thank you.
So now we have our logo, we have our design, and we are Terror from the Closet. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to be talking about Longlegs. A little past due, but it's okay because I feel Longlegs is definitely a movie we talk about a lot. Mm-hmm. But I suppose let's begin with, last episode we started with our history with Alien. Why don't we start with our history with Osgood Perkins, the director of Longlegs?
Yeah. So I knew Oz Perkins as like he did The Black Coat's Daughter, which I saw way back when it came out. So I recognized his name, but I hadn't put two and two together that Oz Perkins was Anthony Perkins' son.
Oh, yeah.
And that he's also, he's like, I forget his name. He's in Legally Blonde. He's in like a couple movies, but he plays like, you would know his name. It's like Daryl or something, but he plays like a very awkward, really overly awkward, shy person. But it's just funny to see him now in interviews. I'm like, that's that one dude. But The Black Coat's Daughter, Anthony Perkins, so there's all that baggage. So when I found out that he was doing Longlegs, I did get excited because I thought The Black Coat's Daughter was really good. And I kind of forgot about it until Longlegs kind of came back into the stratosphere. But I went back and revisited it. So I really only know him from that movie and now Longlegs, and then just knowing his history and looking back in his life, which is really interesting and really tragic.
Really tragic. How
Oz Perkins was, and I was gonna bring it up too. We might as well just stuff that he writes about or what he puts in his movies. So his dad Anthony Perkins died of AIDS, fortunately. But he was talking about like in this movie how Alicia Witt, the mom, it kept this whole thing secret from Lee, Michael Monroe's character, like to protect her. That was the whole thing. It's like, I did this for you. I guess Oz Perkins' mom never told him anything about his dad or that he was gay or and like shielded him from all that. And I guess as obviously when he became an adult and it all came out, or when he found it out, it was pretty traumatic. So so just learning stuff like that and and his mom died in 9/11. She was on an airplane. She was on one of the flights.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So just lots of Hollywood tragedy. His story is really interesting. and sad. But like you could see in his movies now, knowing that I can see like some of his through lines or like plots. So I feel like now my relationship with knowing him as a director is really kind of starting now. I knew of him, but like it's really I'm really interested. I think he did another movie. I forget the name when I want to go see it. And then he's doing The Monkey, I think, for Stephen King.
Oh, The Monkey's Paw?
Yeah, or I don't know. I think he just said it was The Monkey.
Or The Monkey, yeah.
Which is a Stephen King story. I'm not sure, but I'm excited for that.
I think I saw like a promotional thing for that. I think it was a video. It wasn't
like
a trailer, was it?
I haven't seen a trailer
Yeah.
yet. And it's just so weird that like now they're like advertising that now, and Longlegs like just barely. It's still in theaters and it's like barely on VOD. So he's working.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is absolutely crazy. I actually kind of forgot that he was Anthony Perkins' son, and now I just learned a whole lot about him because I fucking
deep dive. I did a deep dive.
Yeah, father died of AIDS and mother died in 9/11, and that's kind of weird too with like the mother relationship now.
Yeah.
Now, my history with Osgood Perkins literally began this year, and me and my roommate Coy, we only watched The Black Coat's Daughter because we knew that the person who did Longlegs did that. So.
Oh, so you watched it after?
No, before.
Okay.
Yeah, we watched it like, oh yeah, like the director of this did that.
Okay.
And gosh, The Black Coat's Daughter has been on my radar for ever since it came out. It's always been one of those movies like, I'll get to it one day. And then like 10 years passed, like, cause what was that, like 2014 or something?
That's so crazy how long ago it was, because I remember I found it as in like I just saw the poster and was like, I just pressed play, I had no idea what it was about, or that Emma Roberts is in it.
Uh-huh.
Kiernan Shipka, is it Shipka?
Shipka. Yeah. And no, and I absolutely liked it, loved it, and I remember that. Okay, this is not just like your run-of-the-mill lazy, horror director. It's a person who puts a lot of thought into it. It's less about actually being scary, and it's all about that constant dread.
Yes, 100%.
And that goes both for Black Coat's Daughter and Longlegs, because I just knew. Well, first of all, Longlegs has been getting like a lot of like that. It's the scariest movie of the decade. You'll shit your pants.
I mean, people were acting like you were gonna. It was the cursed tape, and you were gonna die after you watched it. Like,
and I just knew right then and there, like, oh, this movie is gonna get a lot of unnecessary hate for not being that movie, because there is still like no movie that would ever truly do that unless you're like some sort of like, I don't know, wimp who's never watched a movie ever.
Well, then you might call me a wimp, but there's one movie who does that did scare me, and like genuinely scared me, and I haven't found another one since then. Hereditary.
Oh,
Hereditary scared the shit out of me in the theaters. Like I was disturbed, and I hadn't had that like feeling from a horror movie, because we like desensitize ourselves. I mean, obviously all we do is horror, so it's been rare for me to find that. And so whenever I read that, I'm just like, I'm not gonna get that hit that I want. But
Hereditary raised the bar naturally for modern cinema, at least.
But I still think dread is scary. I still feel like leaving the theater, feeling that, going home and just feeling a little creeped out.
Dread is, I think, obviously horror is scary, but dread is scarier because it will leave you with. Especially with this movie, the one thing that this movie does fantastically is its framework with the cinematography. Because never in my life have I just not been like, not focused on the actor in the scene, but looking around corners, because there's so much empty space behind these characters where it's framed as if something or someone is going to like give us like a signs, alien, walk through, and oh my goodness, that's one thing I definitely appreciate. That's what one thing I appreciate now about Osgood Perkins, is that it's not like a lazy director. Everything is meticulously planned and shot, and particularly with the symbology of everything.
Andre Orochi, I think, is a cinematographer. I don't know if anyone's, but
see what else he did.
Let me see. He worked on not too many others. Something in 2014 called Sonia Sueña. And then a short film called Dissonance, another short film called Shame.
Oh, wait. Go under the cinematographer thing.
Oh,
that's him on camera.
You can edit that out. Okay, well, just kidding. He's done a hell of a lot more than that. Well, actually, I don't know. I mean, these are all
Yeah, I don't really.
these are all
notice
short
anything.
films. He did before this. I don't see another full length movie. They're all short
Interesting.
films or music videos. But that's fucking cool.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
love to see.
it's
newbies
crazy
try
because
that.
one thing I like too is that it gives us different aspect ratios. Dude, it goes to that widescreen and then that 4:3 with the curved corners.
I was watching an interview where he said that they filmed on they filmed on film, they filmed on VHS, and then they caught stuff on disposable Kodak cameras to capture some of their stuff, which I'm sure you might spot more of that than I did. I mean, I could definitely see the like analog look that they were going for, but it was interesting seeing that they actually filmed on.
So they actually did shoot on film.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what he said.
Respectable, because nowadays a lot of
could be
people
wrong.
just shoot digitally
Actually,
and
oh
then
my
like.
God, hold on.
Did they shoot on film?
I need to look.
God, I love the way
No,
that
it was shot on
sounds.
digital, but he
Oh,
did.
really?
Yeah, like some. Okay, Longlegs was shot on digital with ARRI Alexa Mini LF. Yet some theaters are showing the movie on 35mm film prints.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen this in 35 mil.
So I'm not sure, but I know he said but he was talking about like the different because they were talking about like the different screenshots or just there's different changes in the aspect and stuff how he did it, and I guess some of it was VHS, some of it was
Wonderful.
analog type stuff. He's a really interesting filmmaker. I don't know if you've watched any of his interviews. I started like going through them, and he's really, really cool. But although when you were saying like the meticulous planning, he does do that. Like he does plan a lot. But there's a bunch of stuff in the movie though that I would think were like, oh, that was probably there from the beginning, and were like just happened in editing. Like a
happy
bunch
accident?
of stuff. Well, he said happy accidents, but also like he got screwed on things. So like it's like things like you said happened on set that they didn't realize until they got back into the editing room, and they have to kind of like, or things that just don't work. Like the whole last scene, I guess Lee was supposed in the script, and they filmed it where she was sitting down the whole time, and they were like, why would she sit down? When he told like, why would she do that in this moment? And she just sits there and listens to this whole monologue. And so the editor had to go through like all these hours of footage just to find a couple shots of her standing up in that room. So that didn't look like, I don't know. That stuff was
Yeah.
interesting for me to hear.
It's like George Lucas logic, like the most amazing, the most big news you're gonna get. You know,
Yeah.
Anakin is a Sith, and it's your baby. Let's sit on the comfy couch.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
oh, by the way, your mom's a serial killer, and your boss is gonna murder his entire family. Let's
Have
sit
a
on the
seat,
couch.
have a
Good
seat.
call.
You're gonna want to sit for this one. And like I don't want to take over, so I go back to where you were.
Oh no, keep going. What was it?
Or like Cuckoo, like where that came from.
I just figured out this morning, actually.
What was it?
Well, it's so strange. It has connections to two movies. This, Longlegs, and of course the movie Cuckoo, which kind of falls in with that whole thing of that bird who will put their egg in a
Shit,
nest.
bird. I hate cuckoo birds for this very reason. There's no joke. I really hate cuckoo
And-
birds.
And for me, I just learned about this bird this year because of the movie Cuckoo and why Nicolas Cage says
Do they
Cuckoo.
mention that in Cuckoo? I haven't seen the movie Cuckoo.
Yeah, because Cuckoo is a whole other that
I heard it's a trip.
it is a trip. It's just one of those movies that kind of is steeped in like a weird reality, and then as weird as things were, they get even weirder in the last act. It's
one of those.
so crazy. And again, I think it was one of the movies that got talked up a lot, you know, based off reviews and the
No one went to
festivals
go
it's been
see
a
it.
part of. So, but I mean, it was funny, it was interesting, and it was just really far out there. But yeah, because of these two movies, I now know what a shitbird a cuckoo bird is.
Bastards, absolute bastards.
And again, falls in with the themes. Longlegs was a little bit more kind of like indirect and a little bit more kind of thought provoking, and Cuckoo was literally. Do you care if I just say like a little spoiler about it for Cuckoo?
No.
Bird people.
Are they bird people?
They're literally bird people.
Well, now I have to see it
It's
because I
bird
love
people.
birds. Well, Brian is a big bird person. That's how I know what Cuckoo is because Brian shows me every bird.
Then you definitely have to watch this movie called Animal Kingdom. It's
Oh,
about
yeah?
people who turn into animals, and one of the characters turns into a bird.
Like they literally turn in like on screen their animals now, and they talking and shit.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's French, and I only watched it because there's this cute twink in there.
Sad? It's a sad.
No, well, it's sort of like they treat it like as if it is like a disease, so they're kind of like imprisoning these people against their will, even though they're because they turn into animals and they lose who they are as like a human.
So they don't. But do they get? Oh, that's sad. I'm already getting bummed.
I mean, I didn't cry. It's like a hopeful. No, okay, it's a drama. I love
sadness though.
So maybe yeah, but I mean, hey, you love birds, you love people, maybe bird people. There you go.
But I hate cuckoo birds. And cuckoo also, I was like, cuckooing is a crime where people invade another person's home for nefarious purposes.
That is a better definition. I was like, fuck.
Well,
birds.
that's like people have to steal everything.
Oh, okay. So I get that. Okay, so I remember. Okay, so it's a crime, an actual crime.
It's this. I mean, yeah, it's the same analogy. It's called cuckooing because of the cuckoo bird infiltrates. The cuckoo bird drops their egg in another bird's nest, and like kills, like pushes out the other eggs immediately, and then that species of bird, whatever it is, takes over as the mom for the cuckoo, killing off the actual, which I think is just like the most awful, evil thing you can think of. I don't know why cuckoos are like this.
And you know what's crazy is that maybe it's like an average viewer. They won't see like, oh, obviously that's a reference to cuckooing or maybe the cuckoo bird. But to like maybe an average viewer, it's just Nicolas Cage being weird. Okay,
and since you mentioned him, because I also learned that whole cuckoo and doing when he puts his hands over his eyes and that whole thing. I guess he got that from his mom. His mom used to put white cream on her, some kind of cream on her face, turn away, and then turn back and go cuckoo, and did those arm over her eyes things. And so he was doing an impression of his mom being creepy.
Then I'm wondering, is that just coincidence or?
I don't know, but that's what I was like when I was listening to stuff and reading through. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting that would come in to play. You wouldn't think it'd be. It just fits so perfect for it to be too much of a coincidence.
Yeah,
but that's kind of funny. And Nicolas Cage's mom, what are you doing?
I mean, in the context of that, it seems kind of innocent. But then, like, just like,
scared.
Wait, I mean, what are creepy things that our mother said? What of mine? I'm trying to think. I don't think it was anything that creepy, but it was just like,
I'm gonna get the chancla.
Like
that was fucking scary.
Oh yeah, well that's scary for a whole different reason. But the psychological aspect for me was like, if you don't behave, Chucky's gonna get you.
La Llorona's gonna fucking come and get you.
That's
what they pulled
that.
Oh, yeah. I got pulled. Yeah.
I guess ours was Chucky.
She's down by the canal. She's gonna take me.
Oh my god! Yeah, fucking. We both live in very close vicinity of a canal.
Yeah. I think anyone in Arizona does.
So many people have died in that.
Every canal here is haunted.
Actually, it's really weird about that. I mean, I don't mean to bring that on the mood. But
no,
I don't know.
But we're talking about it.
But like, I just met a friend a couple days ago that I haven't seen in 3 years, and he's been my friend since like, third grade. So it's like my oldest friend, and we were just kind of catching up, and then like he just drops this bomb on me and says, "Oh, by the way," and he says the name of one of our classmates, and it's like, "By the way, did you know this person died?" I'm like, "What?" Huh? And he said, "Yeah, he drowned in the canal," and I'm like, "Wait, what? The canal by my house?" And it's like the only fucking main canal in Phoenix. Like where else? Yeah. And I'm all like, "Whoa." Because you always hear stories about like, oh yeah, someone's dead body found in the canal, and I'm like,
you're always finding them in the canal.
Oh, well, I put them there.
Oh, finally the mystery solved.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a friend; it was just like a classmate that I haven't seen in like 15 years, but it was still like news.
It's so funny when people drop shit like that on you too, like.
It's like, how's life? And like, oh, here's a laundry list of classmates who have passed on. I'm like, oh,
and this is how.
One beer, please. But okay, cuckooing. That is actually a way better. I was like, again, fuck the bird, but cuckooing, that is crazy. What would be like an example of cuckooing then as a crime?
When I was reading it, it was like people who might use another person's home. It's typically against their will to run a drug operation out of. They might take people hostage and use their home as a base of whatever for nefarious stuff. Wow. Devil worship. and things.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's what I that's what I read.
So now we have 2 movies with cuckooing in it with very different results here.
It's funny how that happens in like pop culture. Things start to like.
Because like you got devil worship and then a company turning people into birds.
I gotta see this movie now. That sounds like a Resident Evil plotline.
Gosh, that one guy who's in it, he's almost like in everything now.
Dan Stevens?
Yes. He is just a hoot and a holler on that movie.
Man.
It's like, you're a madman.
He was so hot when he turned evil in Abigail.
In Abigail.
Oh my God.
Another great movie.
So good.
I
You're
feel-
getting fed this year with movies.
That's like a movie that I feel it's got the From Dusk Till Dawn kind of thing, where if you don't know it's vampires,
Yeah.
it'll be even more shocking.
I wish I hadn't seen the trailer, but I feel like that's the only way they marketed it as.
That's how they
like,
only could.
Yeah, I'm like, how you would, unless it was like, oh, they're robbing this place, maybe it's haunted.
Yeah,
I don't know.
or like here's a crime drama.
Yeah, no
You
one's
know?
gonna.
No, they want to go see vampires, and more people
Melissa
blowing up.
Barrera, Queen. I want more of her.
And but okay, so Longlegs. Gosh, where do we begin? Like,
I think the biggest jump scare for me, which is the very beginning, when he's like, "What if I did this or whatever," and he like bends down into the frame. It scared the
like,
shit out of
I've
me.
worn my long legs today. That was the only scare in the movie theater wise that had people like. I had like people legitimately like scream.
It was unnerving. I like didn't. It just is not expect. You know, I'm expecting something spooky to happen, but not that. And it's so simple. Like nothing happens. He just leans down and just himself is fucking scary.
And then we get into like the cacophony of music after that, where
Yeah.
it's like just the strings being dragged against like bows and it was a subtle one before that, but when she kind of looks to the left and the strings are like a bling.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I mean, that
oh.
put me immediately. This movie does the thing where it's like the second it starts, there's the tone is there, the like, feeling uneasy. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just no. If this movie and Black Ghost Daughter is going to make you feel anything, it's going to be uneasy.
Like a quiet unease because
It's such a quiet movie.
Because there's lots of times of just silence. You're hearing it's like ASMR type. You're just hearing little things here and there, but it's just like, oh my god! But and yet let it so loud with its.
And apparently, there are a lot of hidden things in the audio.
Yeah.
Which I didn't quite catch a lot of them.
I didn't notice it until later I read it.
But I think you're not supposed to.
It's supposed to be like what's it called? Subliminal.
Yeah.
It's like I think they got like a inspired by old metal, like those. Oh, if you listen to Kiss backwards, it's telling you to worship the devil. Mm-hmm. So like they were kind of I guess there's parts in the soundtrack where if you reverse it, you hear it says give Longlegs good Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or just like Hail Satan or just a bunch of other random stuff that they put.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's funny.
It worked.
Okay. I thought it was like literally like, okay, if we play this forward, you're gonna summon the devil into your bedroom.
They said they did spells too. That the more they researched, they just started doing stuff that like, were evil. I guess satanic-ish.
Well, you know what's crazy? Okay.
In like the most casual way, though.
In regards to sound, I have a strange theory. Because, and please don't take this as you hated it and thought it was boring, so therefore you fell asleep. But in the theater, I fell asleep. And it was in that scene where it's in the scene after she goes and visits the only survivor of the Longlegs killings. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you why. I just fell asleep. I don't know, maybe just me getting old, I guess. But I swear to God, same scene, exact moment, I fell asleep.
Maybe there's something in there.
Did they put like a sleeping spell?
They triggered you.
And it's strange that you said like ASMR, because the whole point of ASMR is so you can actually get to sleep or maybe just feel those tingles. But I feel maybe they did it too well, because I haven't fallen asleep in a movie like that probably since The Phantom Thread, which is just ASMR the fucking movie.
Oh, that movie.
Because it's just like, there's like a...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make this dress. And it's like, oh, audio, maybe, I don't know, but like
It could be.
Could not be mere coincidence that I fell asleep at the same exact scene.
Nothing is coincidence.
Both times. So, I didn't hate the movie. It's just, I don't know, something happened. I'm just like...
Harrison hates going to the movies. He said it here first.
The spells worked, Osgood. But you used a fucking sleeping spell on me. It fucking worked. Well, I guess, let's talk about things that we liked.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot that I like. There's not a whole lot that I don't like because I feel like this is one of those movies that you 100% you have to put down any kind of realism because you can pick holes in it really, really easy. You could. How did they not? And this is like something that I mentioned in the last podcast. Now I know what it means. When it was like, why wouldn't the detective Agent Carter, the boss, who's played by Blair Underwood, like why wouldn't they not come to the conclusion about the birthday parties or the 14th yet? Like they were working on this for decades. Like it was a decades long spree.
Yeah.
How did they not get? Which I was watching. I was like, okay, well, clearly the daughter's next. Like clearly this is like you.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff. There's stuff like that you kind of have to let go. Why would they do this or that? The whole psychic thing. The whole you have to be okay with and just let go of the fact that she's psychic, maybe, or I think we're finding out maybe it's like the psychic influence from the satanic powers, but like you still kind of have to go. It opens up with that basically.
Because it's funny that you say the birthday thing, because like when me and Koi watched this in theaters, like when I said, "Oh, it's your birthday next week," I'm like, it's something to do with the birthdays. So like, if this guy can figure out, FBI couldn't. Yeah, no, that's where you have to like, okay, movie's got a movie.
Yeah, movie's got a movie. And that's what that question in it was like the Reddit discussion. They asked Oz Perkins because he was answering stuff. Why didn't he know that? And he was like, because it's a movie. It's a movie, and you got to go with it. So because of that, there's not a lot that I have complaints about. I think the only thing, I love a strong ending, or at least I prefer a clearer ending than not so clear. I think this ending leaves a lot. For me, at the end, I was like, you can come up with your own interpretations. There really isn't, I don't think, an exact one, but I just wanted to know what happened. Like I wanted more answers. That's just typically me in movies. I do like certain stuff. Like I'm okay with ambiguity. I think it's cool to come up with your own interpretations of stuff, but I want some conclusion or some like solid stuff. And if anything, I'll say is I did wish there was a bit more of an explanation of certain stuff, but letting that go. I mean, there's just so much to like in the movie, just as a filmmaker, like wanting to be a filmmaker, or if you're into anything like that. In and of itself, I think it's just a really good. There's just so much of it to praise. I greatly enjoyed. I love Michael Monroe. I'm a huge fan. I'd say huge fan. Everything I see her in. Have you seen The Visitor? I think it was called The Visitor.
No, not The Visit, right?
Which one is it? And it's not The Guest. I know she did one. It was The Guest, but she just did one recently. I forget what the name was then, but she starred as like an actress. Her and her husband moved to a new city or in Europe, and she gets a stalker. No, like there's a killer on the loose, and it's her navigating it. It's a really good movie, and she's really good in it. And I had always thought she was a good actor, but then I watched that movie, and I was like, she's a really, really good actor. And she has range.
Yeah, I think I've only ever seen her in It Follows. Like I actually didn't know that was her until like I did the whole IMDb thing. I'm like, oh, that's her.
Yeah, I've seen her in a couple of things, and she's always been good. She was in Independence Day Resurgence. That was like her next big thing, I think, after. But she did The Guest, and I think that she did Independence Day, but I won't fault her for that. I mean, I had a good time.
Got a fat paycheck for it, so.
She got a great. That was her first big blockbuster, I think. But I think you have to be a good actor to pull off. She doesn't do a whole lot. Like when you watch the movie, it's a very subtle performance, like very, very subtle, and in the way she talks, it's like, and then if you're thinking about what the movie's about, she's probably in there some kind of trance her whole life or something. But it's very subtle. She's not doing a whole ton. It's a lot of face acting, a lot of acting with the eyes and stuff. So I think it'd be easy for an actor to make it really boring, like to seem lifeless, but she still seems like somehow I want her to be safe. I want her, like, I care about what's going to happen to her, even though you're not really seeing you don't really know much about her throughout the whole movie until the very end.
And I actually read somewhere that character-wise, she was definitely on the spectrum.
And that, yeah. And I like that they don't really talk about it, and it's not played up, but if you can read it, like, 100% if you watch it, you would think, like, if I was around her. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, I totally feel her. Like, when she asked if she had to go in to meet his family, I was like, god damn, because that's what I want. That's
so relatable. Do I have to?
Yeah, I felt that. And her just seeming generally being like a loner, it kind of seemed like. But I really, really enjoyed her in this movie. But I think, and Nicolas Cage, we'll get to him because I think he'll probably be a whole whatever. But for me, I think the MVP is Alicia Witt.
Oh, the mother?
Yeah. I was very surprised. Well, I was shocked that I haven't seen Alicia Witt in a while. The last movie I really have watched her in was Urban Legends.
Oh, she goes back that far, huh?
That was like her. I mean, I feel like that she's been around for a long time. She was one of the kids in one of the siblings in both of the Home Alones. That's the first time I saw her. Oh my god! So she's been a child. She's been acting for a really, really long time. But I just, she was in more of a '90s thing, I think. And I could be wrong. People, you can comment. I haven't followed her career, but she kind of dropped off the map. She did a couple, mostly smaller stuff, and I think she's been doing TV a lot. So to see her pop up here, I was just like, oh shit! And then I felt like she just really brought it with like her few scenes. I felt like to me she was a real big standout, and I really enjoyed that twist. Yeah, I don't know. I think she was my favorite character.
Yeah, and it's really funny, like, because then we're gonna talk about things that we can't like or didn't like, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of putting together a list, and there's not a lot on it. It's probably like maybe one thing, but it's not even a fault against the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think a lot of the things that I like are pretty similar to yours. The tone of it, the feeling of constant dread, the cinematography, especially with all that empty space and leaving room for the potential of a lazy scare, but the fact that it kind of keeps you on the edge. Like
the Where's Waldo thing, I think, is a great aspect of the movie where you're looking for Satan in the background.
And that's another thing too. I'm absolutely kicking myself for having not noticed these little cameos by Lucifer himself.
The man down the stairs.
Because I saw one theatrically, and that's the obvious one.
Was it
where
the one where
Nicolas
it's behind the girl?
No, that's why I'm kicking myself. The only one I saw was when Nicolas Cage was sitting in his little dungeon, whatever, and he's looking down the hallway, and then obviously it's there.
Yeah, it's right there.
But then, like, when I see it now, I'm all like, how the hell did I miss that? And it's crazy because you should have seen it because it slowly, like, fades away.
Most of them, yeah. But somehow you're so even, and there's not even a ton happening on the screen at all times. You're still somehow, I don't know what they're doing, but that you're so invested in, like, what is happening on screen because you're usually staring at Lee, like, doing some monotonous, like, looking through files and stuff. But there's the devil shows up in, like, scenes you wouldn't even think to go look for him, though. Like, I don't know, how many do you find? Did you count?
Well, I mean, on the first viewing, theatrically, one. On the second time, because I knew where to look for them, I spotted almost all of them. But even then, I'm like, how did I miss those? Because the movie that seems to be quite literally designed for looking in corners of the frame, like I missed like the fucking devil horn guy.
You mentioned earlier a lot of the shots where it's like looking past someone or like a door behind you, like you're waiting for something to walk in and jump scare you, but he doesn't do the jump scare. It just is a soft fade glow in the background of something. I jump scared Brian when we watched it because there's one that I saw that I got the jump. I went because I just was like, I didn't get scared, but it was just like, oh my god, I saw it. I saw something. I didn't know at the time that we were supposed to be looking for anything like that too. And he was like, "Holy shit, what?" And I was like, "It's right there." And it was one that was he got mad. It didn't get mad, but he was like, "What? Like, holy fuck, what?" Because what was happening on screen was her just sitting on the floor at the office, just looking through, like, putting the pictures out on the floor. Nothing really was happening. You're really just looking at her hands putting stuff down. But like, if you looked behind her, and it's huge, it's a huge fucking shadow. And it's in the corner. But that was the only one. No, I saw a couple of them. I went back though to try and see if I could find go and pick through. Did you see the one standing behind him in the very beginning? Because he's in the devil's in the trees behind.
No.
Longlegs in the beginning of the movie at the White House.
No, see again that just.
And I loved his interpretation of Satan. And this one, it's a bit more. The horns are a bit more stereotypical, like the curved goat horns. His representation of him in the Black Coat's daughter, or whatever that demon was, which was like a weird. It wasn't like a typical Satan. It looked like a bat. It was more like a bat. It even had wings with like the hook talons at the end, but like the head almost looked like a rabbit's head. I don't know how to explain it. It just was. But I found that interpretation a bit more scary than this one, which was just the typical kind of the shape of the goat head and the horns and like a robe. But
Oh, okay. So you'd be okay just walking down the canal and then
if I just saw a goat head with a robe, I'd be like, whatever. But if it was a giant thing bat with a bunny head on it that was black, that might be different.
I'm gonna learn your walking routes. I might plan a little surprise for you then. We'll put this to the test, people.
Drowned himself in the canal. That would be scary. But yeah, I love that. Just subtle. The movie. I didn't know this was a supernatural movie either. For the longest time, I thought it was going to be a straight up. Because they kept comparing it to Silence of the Lambs. So I was expecting a very straightforward serial killer, and it was going to be disturbing,
like a procedural and all that.
But a procedural. I didn't, but then they throw at you the like psychic stuff almost immediately when you watch the movie. But did you know it was a supernatural thing?
No. Again, the trailers did a fantastic job of one, hiding Nicolas Cage, and two, treating it like a serial killer movie, which we went into prepared. So all like the religious aspect too. All the religious aspect was not in the trailer at all. It was just.
Was the mom even in the trailer? I feel like there was a shot. I think you saw a shot of the mom in the nun outfit, but you wouldn't know
that's the mom.
Yeah.
No, all the supernatural stuff caught me off guard. I mean, this movie kind of had it all. It was a crime thriller. It was a horror. It was a drama. It was a creepy doll movie.
And a creepy doll movie, which I forget, like, oh yeah, there's a doll. He's a doll maker, which was not, I don't think that was in the trailers. I don't know.
No.
I don't really remember, but.
And, I mean, you know what's going to happen, but it still caught you off guard when the eyes open.
Oh, which for no reason. Unless it's like weighted. I was like trying to think, like, why did the eyes do that? Were they evil? Or was it like those dolls that, like, if you turn them, their eyes open?
Yeah.
The weights? Those fucking dolls. Like, I guess we maybe talk. What do you think the goal? Like that's kind of my question. What was your interpretation of like his goal, like Longlegs' goal, or what exactly like the point of the dolls and everything?
With the dolls, they're obviously conduits, to house that little silver ball bearing, which clearly, hides the satanic mind control power. And it's so weird when you explain it that way, because you could be explaining like the worst like B horror movie ever.
Yeah, the doll has metal balls in the head, and if you shoot the ball, the power goes away.
I guess, but. And I'll quickly say this, in regards to the ending and it being ambiguous, this was, I think, ambiguous in the best way possible, because it's not one of those things that, it does leave you with more questions, but it also leaves you with possibilities, too.
Do you think she was like, she's the new Longlegs?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Either the new Longlegs, or she's going to be the person who replaces the mom and like stuff like that. So because she does try to shoot it, but the gun doesn't jams like several times. So but with the dolls, obviously they're conduits that embody the child that is going to be sacrificed or killed, and it was just a creepy, clever way to just house those silver bearings in it, but then that also falls into just having to do your own little kind of deep dive into the character of Longlegs, Nicolas Cage, because when you get into descriptions of who he was before, like this movie, you kind of understand now that maybe he's a creepy doll maker that happened to turn rock star at the height of Satanic Panic, and he actually kind of tapped into a few real kind of experimentations, and then this was just
over, right? Like,
yeah,
I had read I guess like the general backstory was he was a regular person at one point, but he was a glam rock star turned doll maker. And I guess through the rockstar Satan-y stuff, because like Ozzy Osbourne, I'm picturing like Ozzy Osbourne and that kind of they're eating the bats and all that. Mm-hmm. He, like you said, he unlocked, maybe did something too well and morphed into what he is now. And his face, like the way he looks, the way he does, is from botched plastic surgeries, which was just like I didn't get any of that from the movie. This is all like from reading out afterwards. Just but I'm like, okay, I see that. I mean, it all makes sense. Like when you watch it, if you watch it again. What they're going, especially with the singing, because when I first saw it, I was like, okay, if it's satanic, then I thought he was like singing, and I guess he is, but like a spell. Like I thought he was putting them under a trance or something. By the time I didn't get the glam rock stuff, but now I'm just like, okay, he is doing that, but he's doing it in a glam rock style.
But did you you didn't watch this in the theater, did you?
No, I watched it. I had it until it came for streaming.
Yeah, well, people laughed, unfortunately.
Really?
But it's really.
I mean, it's uncomfortable.
I understand.
I think I didn't laugh, but I was like I was smiling because it is funny, but because of what is happening on screen and because something terrible, these people are dying, and it's disturbing, and but it is funny, and it's like how else do you react to someone doing, and it's like his mannerisms and all that. It is funny, but I think people, especially theater goers or at least general, don't know how to express like the feeling that like this deep disturbingness that's happening in this scene, other than to laugh at it because it's absurd. It's the absurdity of it.
Because for me, I think Nicolas Cage is quite well hidden underneath all the makeup.
You wouldn't know it was him. It's not one of those like.
But I think having gone into it and just knowing who Nicolas Cage is, and that he's known for just being Nicolas Cage. I mean, what was that movie he just did? The vampire one, Hellsing, Renfield.
Renfield, I liked it. Renfield. No one liked it. I liked Renfield.
But then all the people were all like, the director was like holding back, like how do I tell Nicolas Cage to go full Nicolas Cage without saying. Go full Nicolas Cage. But then Nicolas Cage is like, oh, you want me to go full Nicolas Cage? I don't know why he sounds like that, but
that was his choice on this.
So just knowing it's Nicolas Cage and just seeing him do the things he did in this movie, I get why people laugh. Yeah. But for me, I was so enamored with the context of the scene. Without the subtext, I guess. It is hilarious, which is why you get like the memes of like standing outside Spirit, let me in now, and it can be.
I've been saying that to Brian since we watched it, trying to fit it ways in there.
My birthday was last week. My roommate, there she is, the almost birthday girl. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Oh God! So it's. I just knew, especially watching it, this is going to be so fucking memed. And it was.
But I kind of love these memes, though. And I think what I've seen, at least, is there's a lot of people, like, the memes are kind of making fun of certain stuff, but I see it as more in, like, a loving kind of way. Yeah. Like, they still like the movie. Like, people, I think I'm surprised at the general consensus that this is a great movie, and a lot of people like it. Like, not just cinephiles, but, like, a lot of the general audience. It's, like, the highest... box office for an A24 film? Or
wonderful.
No, was it A24 or was it Neon? Neon.
No. Oh, wait. No, it was Neon. It was Neon.
Neon. It was like the highest grossing film for them. And it's just crazy for a little movie like this to make $100 million it made already?
I actually didn't even check any of the box office.
I feel like on like a nothing.
Definitely low budget, so it probably made his budget back like tenfold. But one thing I like doing, especially on these movies, is going into the negative reviews.
102 million worldwide.
Wonderful.
I love that for these little horror any horror productions or indie productions and stuff like that. Like knowing that cinematographer like is basically just starting and he has
this under his belt now.
His fucking belt. Like that's so awesome. I love hearing that. But sorry.
But no. I love going into just like Rotten Tomatoes and looking at the 1-2 star reviews just to be like, what? And unfortunately, a lot of them is like, wasn't even scary. Nicolas Cage was funny.
You don't know what scary is.
No, and that's where I'm talking. That's what I'm
You're
talking.
You're too dumb to be scared when you should be, young man.
Well, no, it's a joke, but it's true.
It's kind of true. It
because
is.
You're getting these people who maybe younger audiences who grew up with like their scariest movie this year probably what for them was like Imaginary. Yeah. And then because they have the bar set so low, if it's not dumb and stupid like that, then it's like it's not scary.
If they have to think about it, right? Like they have to really like. This is a movie you kind of have to put the pieces together as you're watching it, and it definitely I think warrants multiple viewings. This is one of those movies that you can watch multiple times, and you're gonna get a bunch of shit each time.
One thing I noticed is on a second viewing is the inverted triangle symbolism everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it was right in her fucking hallway when she came home. So, but yeah, this movie definitely benefits from multiple viewings because when you get the shock of what happens in the finale out the first time, then you can go back and start seeing the breadcrumbs that were left for you that lead to that finale. So, definitely benefits from a couple of viewings.
And then, you just mentioned something really quick. I just lost it.
Oh,
I was gonna jump on
it's the triangles.
The triangles.
Yes.
I just found out, because some people were wondering, is Longlegs her dad? Because we never hear about a father, and they do in the psychic test shows.
Yes.
Well, apparently they asked him that, and apparently he said that was just something they did on the day they were making her say a bunch of creepy stuff, and they were just like, what if we just had her just say father, and so she just said father, and there was no other thought into it other than that. It wasn't in the script.
I don't know,
it wasn't
the image that comes up is a triangle, so it's like.
Well, that's what they said. Is they were like, doesn't that sound cool? Have her say father, but they never meant it to mean anything else other than what you might interpret. Which was a lot of Oz Perkins' answers for this movie is like, well, what do you think? What do you think happened?
Well, it makes sense, right? Because
it all comes together.
Unless.
But he says he doesn't think so. He said he doesn't think Longlegs works like that.
Because I'm trying to. We weren't shown the other murders.
Yeah.
So
just one, just the Carmen farm.
Yeah, but did Longlegs actually drive up and speak to the girl? Because unless we're not being shown a lot, Longlegs may have potentially been the only person to visit her. What was her name? Character's name? Lee
Harker?
Lee as a younger girl, because he walks up and...
Oh, I see what you're saying, because you're right, he didn't go to any of the other ones. The mom went to all the other ones.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking
Was he already killing... Okay, so does that mean that the Harkers were attacked first?
See, that's what I'm kind of...
Before he killed anyone? And then the other ones were through his... I didn't even think. So that's unlocking.
Maybe the father. That's what. So maybe in that context, the scene isn't that scary because it's just.
And the mom doesn't remember. She's also because there's you got to be trans. You have to be in a trance for this whole movie to get to not pick up on any of the things happening around you that you might be concerned about. Everyone seems to have some kind of like
a little veil over
their heads. Well, I forgot to mention when we're talking about the dolls, when they put the veil over the doll's head and the eyes start to glow. Scary shit, man. That was probably the most chilling. I think I got a chill when the eyes turned red. I was like, that's horror. That's
that is something that'll follow you home.
That is some scary shit because who doesn't want to who doesn't look in the corner at the pile of clothes that's just sitting there, right? They might have eyes in it.
And again, thinking back to Hereditary, the only thing that goes with me is seeing a little girl in the corner of the room and her head falls off and a basketball. I'm like, oh my god, that little doll with a veil over its face, yeah, it was just that. That's what really. I'm like, fuck that. No, don't. revoke any spirits. Don't fuck with me tonight. It's my
Please.
day off tomorrow. So I don't know. Is Longlegs her father? I guess we'll never know.
Daddy Longlegs.
Oh, you know what's really sad? Coy and I actually want to watch this movie with the commentary.
There's going to be.
But yeah, and that's what low key, I was a little I actually didn't want to talk about this about this movie.
You're mad at
because I wanted to wait until the Blu-ray came out so I could watch it again. I mean, I paid $20 to rent it.
We'll do a
yeah,
shit.
so I was like, it comes out in like 3 weeks.
Oh,
but I was
shit.
like,
I'm
no.
sorry.
Well, no, because I want to watch all the specials. And I do
to
watch commentaries every once in a while, but it's like for movies that like I really like. So I feel this would benefit better with a commentary to get like potential answers
100%.
and just be like, tell us what's going on in your head, Osgood.
Although it just seems to be all the answers are, I don't know.
Ambiguous.
Like really I watched like 3 different like 40-minute interviews with him, and a lot of his answers are because it was cool at the time. A lot of it are like, well, I don't know, man, because it's cool. Because it was cool, or like we didn't know what to do here, so I asked so and so, and they were like, what about this? And we're like, yeah. A lot of his answers were just like because it looked cool. His says like when you make like what he goes by and what he thinks other people should keep in mind when you're making films is do what you like. That people were asking why the analog, or why does it look like so good like it's from the 90s, or why blah blah blah. And he was like, I just picked things that I liked, and that's how I did it, and that's his answer. Which a lot of them were, I like him, he's cool, but I did think a lot of his answers were kind of like, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just
I'm not gonna tell you anything. Wait for the commentary.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'm like hoping there might be something. Well, not that the movie didn't have like more, but like I want to again, like you, I want to know more.
Or maybe there's just stuff we missed. I bet there's some other devil appearances that haven't been caught yet. He says that there's some people haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, he says there's like 15, and
I've
then people
only
have
seen
only
like
found
10.
like So we'll see. I don't know. I did know that there supposedly is one in the opening, and I think that might be the only one that is like, that's just a tree.
I'm pretty sure the devil is in the opening in the back.
I'll have to. Oh wait, no, I can't. I think it's my rental period's coming to an end soon.
Oh, damn.
And I never rent. I mean, I never rent movies like this.
I mean, you are always renting if you're buying it online.
Yeah,
they'll take it away.
That's a whole other episode.
I'm trying to build up my collection again.
Physical media, people.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Physical media. Let's not discuss disc rot though. Which I found out that
a
some
thing?
of my movies have disc rot.
What does that mean? They just rot away?
There's kind of a deterioration of the disc itself, and you look at it, and it looks kind of like a water stain on it. But the whole thing, it's really.
So do they not work anymore?
They just don't work.
That's bullshit.
But these were older Blu-rays, like probably like first generation Blu-rays. So. I remember
we just can't have anything. Everything is temporary.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather own it like this and just be suddenly one day, oh, by the way, your digital collection is now gone.
Corpse.
Because I remember before they switched to Movies Anywhere, there was Ultraviolet.
I remember
and
Ultraviolet.
It's like, that's gone.
So where did all that shit go?
It's gone, And I remember all those shit I bought on like Apple whatever it's gone. It was like Doctor Who episodes, and I'm like, oh my god. Back in the day. But it's okay. I'm gonna buy the Blu-ray anyways. I don't give a fuck. One thing that would be really amusing though, can you imagine that? Just a commentary with Nicolas Cage and the character of Longlegs.
As Longlegs, it would be him saying "Happy Birthday" to you for the whole, singing "Happy Birthday" for the whole.
Oh, and I've totally forgot how this movie ended. So just the fact that it ended with him like, yeah, hail Satan.
I mean, I think that was almost a saving grace for me that it doesn't actually just end like cut to black from Lee pointing the gun. It cuts to him doing that, and it leaves the movie with such a fun punch to it. I'll say fun too because I think unlike The Black Coat's Daughter, this movie, although it's still as dark, like as the what it's about, the subject matter is really dark. I feel like the movie is really fun and kind of whimsical, like just kind of. Like, I mean,
just the way the song ends too.
That too, but I mean throughout the movie, like Longlegs himself, like when you see him standing at the bus stop, that's comedy gold. Like him,
that was like Wes Anderson,
that exactly the close up, and then you see him just kind of like shuffling in his pants while he's waiting there because it's cold out. Like
yeah, he's like carrying like the
or when he lifts his hands, like I don't just like. There's something I feel like he said that they had fun. He wanted to make his approach to the movie was like, what if he went to this movie, but made it in a very lighthearted, fun way, and that was his like vibe that he wanted, which is like going into making this rough movie, but instead of going into it being so dour about it, making it so dour, what if we told it in like more of a, I wouldn't say upbeat way, but in more of, I'd say, a whimsical way. There's a lot of fantastical flavoring into it. There's a lot of funniness in it. Some cute stuff. Even Longlegs himself, I wouldn't say cute, but there's something kind of endearing even about him. You know?
Well, I don't know. It's even scary. Would you rather be killed by Ghostface or like psychotic Willy Wonka?
Yeah, I mean, Ghostface, you know what you're getting, but Willy Wonka's going to turn you into a blueberry or something.
I don't know. Like shit. You know, it's like a knife versus whatever that guy might do to me.
You know, it took the longest time for me to realize those kids were dying. In those movies, those kids died.
Oh, right.
Those kids were being murdered.
Gee, well, God, I bet there's been videos done about that too, but in actuality, it's a fucking horror movie.
She got turned into a blueberry and then juiced.
Lest we forget
Let's go
that,
juice her
that
or something.
boat ride.
The scariest part. That movie, that was a great movie. But yeah, sorry to not to digress into a completely different. But Willy Wonka, Longlegs team up.
Oh God,
versus
we're fucked.
Willy Wonka versus
if it's Gene Wilder, we're fucked. If it's Johnny Depp, we'll be okay.
We'll see. Longlegs will prevail. What do you think of Kiernan Shipka? Yeah, Kiernan Shipka. I'm sorry, actor. For misspelling your name or missaying your name.
She played
the Carrie Ann
Survivor,
Camera.
right?
Yeah, dirty, flirty.
Oh yeah, her little accent was a.
Apparently, that was all written out on the script. Like the multiple S's or letters were written in it, and so he went to her and said that it was he was worried to give it to her or something like here, but warned her that it was going to be really hard. And that she's one of those actors that was just like, oh, okay. And like came and like got it on the first take. Like every syllable, everything that he wrote, like she got it out, which
it's English, but it's like Southern broken English.
It's some weird like the man down the stairs. Like lots of extra words where they don't need to be. And I guess he said he misspelled. Every word on the script is misspelled in her dialogue.
Yeah, that's got to be like some very specific like Oregon woods people talk.
I guess you always hear like Midwest accents or East Coast or Southern, but I've never thought of a Pacific Northwest
like I mean, I've been.
We go there. Can we talk like Longlegs?
Well,
or will everyone else be talking to us like?
Because I remember going to like this restaurant in Oregon, and it was in an old like lumber mill that turned into a restaurant. And I guess I can recall, because this is like deep, like redwoods, you know? So I don't recall. They had like a southern drawl, but of course this character didn't finish school, obviously. So I guess she has because
she was comatose for 8 years?
Yeah, she had. Oh, I thought it was longer.
Oh, was it longer than that? Yeah. Oh, because it was in the 80s.
Yeah. I think almost maybe 15, 20 years maybe.
Okay.
Because she was...
I keep thinking of her as she's supposed to be like this little girl, but she's not. She's supposed to be an adult woman, but she looks very...
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that she's been comatose since that incident, and she was at school, so she doesn't have like education up to a certain point. So I'm thinking...
Okay.
So I think the way she talks reflects that. So it's still very... Because this takes place in Oregon. I saw that, and I don't know. I mean, performance-wise, I really enjoyed it. It's just like one scene and
do whatever.
Yeah, but
I want to say that from now on too.
I liked her. She was great.
I liked her. She was spooky. I was gagged when she was like, "You dirty, flirty, little angel bitch." I would have been really upset with her if she said that to me.
Well, because she's all like, she could just like this looking girl, but then when she starts saying, "If he told me to jump over," I felt like it was a jealousy
thing. Like she wanted to. She was jealous of, like, knew somehow and whatever that Lee was important in some way, and she wasn't the important one. I got this like weird, like, oh, she's jealous of her that she's closer to Satan maybe
Now that I could buy, because she, again, like she was, saying, like, if he told me to jump over this couch and choke the life out of you, I surely would.
Just happy as peaches to watch the life come out of your eyes or whatever.
Jump off of a roof, I'd do it. So, now there is a lot of stuff coming out of that I didn't even consider, because I know that spell is broken when that doll is found, and so whatever.
When they opened up didn't they say when they opened it up it was hollow, but like the same time they opened it up, she woke up from her coma.
Yeah.
Or, whatever.
So it like broke the hold on her, which
is like, I'm also wondering if that's the case. Then I would think with them, because the mom said, "You're free now too, baby girl," or whatever, and shoots the doll, and you see the smoke, and Lee passes out and starts the climax of the movie. When I saw, I'm like, okay. To me, the way it's visually represented is that the black smoke is leaving her head. She's now back in her own mind. Like, now she has control of herself. It's gone. Like, the mom destroyed the ball, so now she's free. But that's not really the case. The ball is just to keep your mind stuck or something, because she's still, if you're going to read the ending, then she's still clearly under some sort of control if she can't kill, if she can't shoot the ball or shoot the doll at the end. So what is it exactly does it mean when you break open one of those things? Like, what is the smoke?
I feel that she's also just kind of stopped being a little bit on the spectrum after that moment too, and she really started to be, becoming. Is
she like when she screamed in the car, which mirrored Longlegs? It was the same shot, and it's his car, isn't it? She's driving his car, and she screams
because it's got that weird little thingy there.
Which goes back to like, is she the daughter? Like, it also fits in with that too.
Like daughter, like. Father? Like that doesn't make sense.
Mommy Longlegs should be the next one.
No, there should never be a sequel to this.
I really hope they don't ever do one. An extended universe novel, maybe.
Oh,
we just have to mention extended universe novels every episode now.
What books are coming out recently?
It's
a novelization of movies I never thought would be.
Yes. The X trilogy.
Yeah.
I am so fucking excited.
Oh, those covers look so.
They look so good.
I was so disappointed. No. I was happy. I was disappointed when I first saw that it's not like a collector's edition 4K trilogy pack, because those movies.
Because they look.
Yes. Yeah. Like if that's what it was going to be, I'm like, I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy them. I'm gonna read them, but I want my 4Ks. Damn it! The only one that's getting a 4K is Maxine, and no X, no Pearl, no nothing.
That one's my favorite of the three, so I'm okay with that. In fact, I probably will go back and I've watched Maxine like 3 times already, and I think I've seen X once.
I've only seen Maxine once.
I fucking love Maxine. I could talk about Maxine for days. Let's not even get into it. But I am bummed that the books are spread out, so they're not going to be released on the same day. We'll get X in September. I think we're getting Pearl in October.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was December.
Or is Pearl? Okay, I know Maxine's January. I think it's like early January.
So that makes sense then.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So not too far. Not too far.
I just want my 4Ks too.
Let me see. Oh, something else. I guess when we're talking about stuff we liked. I really liked the mom whose name was Ruth. When she was explaining, like, this is what's happening. Like, this is what you've been waiting for, the explanation that she's the nun and she's going around doing all this stuff. I liked the line, her whole monologue is amazing, but I'll do it again and again until I stand on the shore. I stand on the shore until I see a beast rise from the sea. Hail Satan. Like, it's just, I was like, Hail Satan. I was like, right on line with her. I was like, I feel it, girl.
Hail Satan.
Yeah, let's go see that. And that's a line from Revelation. I, again, was raised super Christian. So, like, every line I was like, that's Satan. That's the devil.
I was going to ask you, did this kind of...
They're going to come and get you. When I read the beast rise from the sea, it may or may not be a deep call from the Bible, but, like, just for me, I agree, like, the church, the things I was raised in was very end of the world, very end of the world cultish. Like, it's I was raised very much believing the end of the world was just around the corner. We're all preparing for it, and Revelation was like something we read every fucking day. It was just, so that line, I was just like, oh my god, this movie was written for me.
I just anything religious. I always be like, make mental note. Ask Toby about that.
Okay, I relate to these people.
Like, do you get phone calls from your mom still? Like, are you still saying your prayers?
Yes, I'm not, and I'm not saying that not even like in a funny way. My mom is very religious still, and yes, every phone call is I'm praying for you. You better pray about that. If I ask like, oh, I really want to do this, we better pray. Better ask God for it. And it always sounds like, oh, well, that just brought it down. Okay, well, maybe I don't want it.
Yeah, I've stopped asking my grandma for advice for that very
I gotta
reason.
learn that one day because it's always like, well, you better pray. Get on your knees and pray. I'm like, damn.
Better get on your knees, pray. Close your eyes.
I just got back up from my knees. I don't want to go to that.
I got to pray about what I was doing on my knees, you know?
But
conflicted.
I loved that line, and I liked that whole. I loved the shot of her like covered in blood, and she's raising her hands.
Oh, right,
in front of the tree. It's just like, oh.
I love that music. It's so like
Have you listened to the soundtrack?
I haven't. Strangely enough, I haven't.
I have it. I've been listening to it on and off. Today, this morning, I really started to listen to it. So I don't know it very well. But as I was listening to it, I was like, I could picture like, oh yeah, okay, that's the Longlegs feeling I'm getting.
Like the artist is like just a single name, isn't it? Like Gilgy or.
I don't know, but they have a cool song on it too. Because there's a soundtrack, and then there's the song that's playing when. I think it's playing in the car when she's driving, called Water, but it's by Zilgi.
Oh, Zilgi.
Zilgi, and they have done exactly this.
Just this.
At least as far as iTunes go. I know they don't have the whole music catalog, but.
But, I feel that this movie shares a lot in common music-wise, especially with Strange Darling, which I wish that's a movie we could talk about. Strange Darling is it still is.
I do want to cover it.
Oh, it's
but I don't know anything about it, and I've not watched the trailer. All I know is that shot of Willa Fitzgerald looking weird running.
Yeah, the less you know, the more. Don't
look at spoilers because I'm like everyone keeps talking about it. I'm like, do I just want to find out what it is? Like,
yes.
But I like because I don't know when it's going to come on VOD. I can go. I guess I should just go. Maybe I'll go this weekend and go.
Oh
watch
my
it.
God!
If
yes,
it's still in theaters, I might go watch it.
It's like
Brian's at work or something.
It's a wonderful indie darling movie, and it is just amazing. I'm not going to talk it up because remember that thing that curse we
remember Oddity? I thought Oddity was going to be the scariest shit, and people keep saying it's scary. And me and Brian were watching it, and we were laughing our fucking it.
Oh,
there was exactly one scene where I was like, "Okay, this is going to be spooky," and it was when you first see the Oddity, the thing like sitting at the table. And then it just was like, I was so upset and disappointed.
Man,
I'm like, damn,
I think
you did all that bitch to fall through a hole.
I think that benefited from the dark.
And I hadn't even watched the trailer either. I hadn't watched the trailer. I hadn't read the synopsis. Brian actually knew more about it than I did. Because when I was like, do you want to watch this? And he was like, oh, I saw something supposed to be scary. Like Harrison said, it's fucking terrifying.
It does. It's sitting at a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know why, because when the thing started walking around, I started laughing my fucking ass off. We both did, and we were just like, oh no. And then the only thing I like about it is that the piece of shit lived. The piece of shit got away with it at the end, right? The husband, like he. You see there's a ghosty at the end by him, but it wasn't like running at him to kill him. It just seemed like Brian was pissed because he's like, okay, so the bastard just got away with it.
Well, it's because that whole little ghost story with the bellboy in that it'll appear and then kill you, but then it cuts to black before it does. So obviously the implication is there.
I don't know.
Yeah. But I guess that's a whole other episode.
Yeah, it is. There's stuff we could talk. I could talk about that movie.
I loved it.
We'll put it on the. I think we should do some podcasts do this. You can cut us out, but they do a stay tuned or like it's on the list or a movie that they've been talking about covering, but they don't really find a time yet, and eventually they'll put it in. Maybe we'll have a list where movies we might not cover right away, but we definitely will get to them or something. Maybe.
So what do we got? We got Cuckoo. We got
Oddity. Oddity. I think we need to talk about Oddity now.
Strange Darling and what?
Oddity, Strange Darling, and
Cuckoo and you just said
far,
it.
That's it.
Oh no! I thought you said something.
Mm.
Oh, I mean, initially
Maybe
were
if we
gonna
do like Patreon, and our Patreon episodes can be like ones we haven't been able to get to yet.
Like older movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will not talk about Scream. Or
I won't talk about Scream
or From Dusk Till
or
Dawn.
Halloween or Aliens. You know, if it's the franchises that we all know and love, we'll talk about it when the new one eventually comes out, which there will always be a new one. I'm finding out as I grow older.
And I don't know. Books are a little iffy for me because I read at the pace I do, and you know, you apparently read really fast.
I'm a genius.
So I do the whole finger on the line thing, and I read a chapter.
Let's do.
a
What if we
day.
picked a book and did like a reading from the book in every episode, and it'd be like we finished the book at the end of the year, at the last episode.
Wait, what, you mean like an audiobook or?
Yeah, we'll read a passages from a book together.
Who would listen to that?
No one. No one will listen to it. It would just be for us.
I would be like, oh, I have to edit it. I would definitely
but
discuss a book, but it
I
would
think-
have to. You have to give me like 6 months to read it.
Yeah, we'll be like, you will have our review this time next year. But I'm thinking it might be a good idea to do like when we do Patreon to maybe do some, because I mean personally I do like podcasts who still will cover older films, especially ones that I don't really know about, or do like bad films or something. There's one podcast to listen to, and they do like once every 2 months they watch a Lifetime movie, and it's usually like They Stole My Baby or Killer Roommate, stuff like that, and it's fucking hilarious. It's fucking funny though.
Me and my roommate watched this like shoestring budget horror movie on Tubi. And we only watched it, and we went through the whole horror list. This looks terrible, 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 until we came up to this one poster. And we looked at the title, and we're like, we're going to watch this. Tricked Out Trannies with Knives.
I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it.
And it is so good in like the best worst ways possible, because it's so like it's done in such like a home video kind of way where it's obviously very independent. It's like some group of friends with the kids, us basically, but with like just the power of drag queens behind them, and it was just so,
which are pretty power. That's a lot of power.
and it was entertaining, and it was badly made, but it wasn't to the point where it's unwatchable.
It's so funny that you say that. You bring that up because I was hanging with a friend yesterday, and we watched. We were just hanging out, so we're like, let's put a movie on, and we ended up watching two. And the first one was, I mean, don't even fucking ask me though what it was about. It as The Exorcism with Russell Crowe just came out. Have you seen it? Have you seen that movie? Because
Jesus.
I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like the whole movie, we were just like, what are we fucking like? What the fuck is happening? What? I don't know. But that movie sucked, right?
It
That movie
sucked.
sucked shit. It was boring as fuck. Everyone was terrible, and it was just like it seemed so empty. Like when it ended, I was thinking of us or like you, and like imagine if we had that budget. What you could fucking accomplish. Like they had these actors, they had
fucking Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, Sam Worthington popped up in that movie for something. Where did he like? Ty Simpkins' sister is the main chick. Just like so empty. At the end, it was like I couldn't tell you what the fuck it was about, or like, and it was such a cool premise, and it had actually a really awesome set. Like I really liked. I thought it was so cool having the house set look like you could film it like a dollhouse, which they do, like on a movie set. You can find stuff like that, and they don't use it.
No.
In any kind of creative way. It's just so devoid of anything. Devoid.
And I just think it's hilarious that it's like Russell Crowe's movie within 1 year with the word exorcism in it.
I was thinking that too because I was like, wait, didn't he already do? I was thinking there's
He did,
another
and it was
one,
terrible.
and it's another horror movie with right.
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
And it's like a typical thing. Like, okay, it's just your typical Exorcist movie. It's going to end with someone yelling at a demon to get out of the body while they're holding a cross.
That's every ending, right? Okay, so that's the ending of the second one we watched as well.
What was that?
It was, but it's an asylum movie,
Oh,
and it
those
was
are fun,
called
though.
The Exorcists.
Oh.
Okay, so there was more than one, and there was a nun. Okay, all these people ate. Like the movie was a shit movie, right? It was obviously a bad movie. If you know what Asylum is, they're the ones like Transformers come out, they'll do Transmorphers. They did Alien and versus Hunter. So, but it was somehow way easier to follow. Every actor, good or bad, were giving it their all. And there's something about actors who, even if they're bad, like that are really trying, that is just entertaining. It's just like I was watching it thinking, how is this way? The other movie, we talked through the whole thing. like we would just get off topic too and like ignore the movie sometimes. For some reason, this shitty ass movie, our like dialogue stopped, and we ended up like so engrossed in the movie and talking about it, even though it was a bad movie, and we were just like, how are we so like, this is just such a fun shit ass movie. They're doing every possible trope that you can think of, but somehow the lighting's cool. Like they're doing something. They were. It's that low budget. Let's do the most with what we can, and so they threw all the lighting. Everything looked really fun and cool. It just was cheaply filmed, badly blocked. But there was a heart to it that I'm like, these people wanting to make a movie. Like they were there and they were going for it. Where in the Exorcism, it was like no one wanted to be anywhere near it. I don't know, but like it just is so funny that you say that and the joy you can get from different kinds of movies.
Yeah.
And the older I'm getting now, to like not just shit on movies, like we shit on movies. I tear movies up, like for sure. But like I feel like I'm appreciating. I can appreciate bad now and still think of a movie as being a good movie or a fun movie, even if it's not that great of a movie.
I think you're finally understanding why I both hate and respect Camp 139.
I can see the respect now, because I'll say that those people wanted to make that movie. Like they were going for it.
Despite all the drama, they still did it.
I think The Exorcists is a better movie than Camp 135.
Well, then you know your movie's really bad, Russell Crowe, when a fucking asylum movie blows yours out of the water.
We did a whole episode on Camp 139. I wouldn't want to talk about the Exorcism again after right now.
I mean, it does have a little going for it with like the whole like Evil Dead aspect of like the person is a drunk, so obviously he's acting weird.
Yeah, but
aside from that, it was like a soulless, uncreative, like we need to get this movie out because it came out like during Good Friday.
Oh, so you killed that guy at the end. Like, are no one gonna pay for that? At least in the Asylum version, everyone who died came back to life as soon as the main demon died. So like I was
Spoilers.
like, well, they thought about that. Sorry for the Asylum movie. At the end, everyone who was demonized comes back to life.
Well, this makes you want to talk about, like, as far as like putting stuff on that list. If we're talking about recent movies, The Exorcism. Well, maybe not after this. You say I don't want to talk about it, but like,
you can drag me there.
But like other movies, like
I'll still hate on
The Terrible Imaginary, Night Swim,
which I haven't seen. I haven't seen Night Swim.
Yeah,
no, I didn't see Night Swim.
It's like it has a really easy solution. Don't go in the pool.
Don't go do the thing. Get out of the fucking water.
Don't go in the haunted pool that's filled with magical.
It's a haunted pool.
Yeah, well,
I didn't even know that.
Because it's a pool connected to.
For some reason, I was picturing like they get stuck in there with an alligator or something. That's a different movie.
That's a whole different movie.
Okay, I definitely haven't seen Night Swim.
That movie was probably better than Night Swim, but like stay out of the water because like the pool is connected to like some sort of like I did that trope of an ancient water hole that was used by Native Americans, and I'm all like,
is now a swimming pool.
Great.
Oh come on.
Yeah, it's like a natural water pool or I don't know.
Yeah, there has to be other ways to have a cursed land.
I mean, we're not all, we don't put curses on everything. Come on now.
Come on.
Just, if anyone's putting curses, it's going to be those damn Christians who burned all of us.
Yeah.
Well, where's the curse on that?
We need another good Christian horror movie. The Sacrament.
Was that
kind of horror? Right.
I've never even heard of that.
The one, it's a Kevin Smith one and John Goodman's in it. And they're based off. Remember the Southern Baptist evil Southern? It's like that.
It was called Red State.
Okay, Red State.
Yeah.
But there is another Sacrament. Is another one. I think that's that's like based off of the Jonestown massacre.
I can't say I've heard of that.
It's found footage.
I did watch this weekend a Christian movie. Well, I went into it not knowing it was, but it was from the producers of that movie Sound of Freedom.
Now you're converted. Whoa, and you watched it?
Well, I didn't know.
And
someone wanted me to watch it. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot because they wanted my review on it, and I'm writing for my tribe now, so naturally every review.
Did you rip it to shreds?
No. It was an all right movie, but it was hard for me to recommend because it is essentially a. I mean, God, it's basically this Mexican kid who gets sold into sweatshop slavery. Oh, okay. And the house they're in is basically the Saw house from Saw 2. Oh. It's dirty and grimy and yellow, and the movie features quite an extended, like, flagellation scene where the kid is like tortured, and it's really crazy because like it went heavy on the Christian themes in that sense. Because, well, first of all, the kid's name is Jesus. He doesn't speak anything until the very end, and the way he's shackled to this plinth, it looks like the same way that Jesus was whipped in a Passion of the Christ. So I'm like, okay, we get it. He's Jesus. So
Mexican Jesus.
But it was just. It was basically a horror film, but it was like real life horror. There was nothing supernatural. It was just, it was a dour movie. And then when I did some research, it was like, oh, okay, the same company who produced Sound of Freedom, which was heavily influential to Christian viewers, and I can see how this is. But yeah, I can't recommend that movie unless you like torture and kids being in pain.
My favorite religious movie is Saved. Have you seen Saved?
No, isn't that the gay one?
You really need to watch it. It's about it has Jenna Malone, Macaulay Culkin.
No.
What's her
That's his
name?
brother, isn't it? Not
no,
Rory Culkin.
No, Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, it is Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was in a wheelchair in this movie.
Okay. Well, I
Jenna
haven't
Malone.
seen it, so.
Jenna Malone's is a main character, and she goes to a Christian school, and the popular mean girl of the school is, what's her name? She's in that fucking show that's still on, I think, about the family. This Is Us. Mandy Moore.
Oh, okay.
So she plays like the mean girl, but like about being Christian. Like, so the whole movie's about like, how hypocrites Christianity could be. Basically, Jenna Malone loses her virginity, and the movie's about like going through and now she's been tainted or whatever, and I don't know. I got the line, Mandy Moore believes that after she had sex, if she prays about it, then her spiritual virginity is restored, so she's not a slut. And
is it very heavy-handed, or is it like tongue-in-cheek?
Fucking funny.
Oh, okay.
It's real. It's a funny. It's like one of those. It's when they don't do this anymore. But there was a time, at least when I was in high school, where the teen dramedy was a thing, and we were getting a ton of like coming of age stories with teenagers, usually involved sex and drugs, or just like more adult themed, but it was like coming of age, and Saved was one of them. But I'm thinking of like,
I remember The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys.
Yes, it's like something like that.
That may have been Rory Culkin.
I think that was Rory Culkin.
I confused it. Yeah.
There is a gay aspect in Saved, but not where you think. It's not like a main focal point.
Oh wait, no, that's like just more kind of gay and religious. Latter Days.
I've seen Latter Days. But it's around the same vein, but not geared towards gay.
See, that's what I miss a lot. That whole like coming of age dramedy.
Wrist Cutters.
Wrist Cutters, fantastic.
Or Wrist Cutters, and then there's another one that was like a huge one for me growing up, and it has Jamie Bell as the main character, and it's about and this was when like the sort of like opioid, or like people were taking a lot of pills, kids are getting into like medications and stuff. Mm-hmm. God, it's like he finds his friend kills himself, and he's dealing with it, and he like takes all these, everyone's on medication.
Oh my God, I remember this.
It's like there's a video game that has an aspect to it.
Doesn't it look like a kid getting stabbed?
Yeah, a little kid gets and it has I think Rory Culkin is in that one. Is it Rory Culkin?
Oh my God!
I gotta look it up now because I fucking love this movie because it has some actors in it that
it's like a weird name too.
Chum Scrubber.
The Chum Scrubber.
Yes. So movies like that.
So, you know what I was thinking of? Thumbsucker.
Which is also
another
a fucking
great
Keanu
movie.
Reeves is in that one. I like that.
Oh
kid.
My God!
That kid, I think, is the kid in X. No.
But I know who you're talking about. That is. He was so cute too. I remember him.
The thumbsucker kid.
Yeah.
Lou Taylor Pucci.
Yes.
Yes. I fucking love him.
Fucking ruined everyone's life in that.
He's
movie.
in Chum Scrubber as well. I knew of Lou Taylor of him because of Thumbsucker, and I watched all those movies because he's in a bunch of them. And I do a thing like if I find an actor I like or I think is cute, I'll just like watch all their shit. Deep dive into all this, but
oh God, but no, and I think this will be the last thing we'll say about that. I love those movies. I mean, remember I said I love coming of age movies like that, and I was like, yeah, they've strangely gone. But there was this movie that came out this year. It went completely under the radar. Nobody watched it, and I think I only watched it because that looks kind of. Well, first of all, I thought it was going to be like a really bad. Remember that John Cena movie where he's like a fire guy, and then he has to look after these kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think something like Firehouse or something. I thought it was gonna be something like that because that's what the poster gave
Where like
off.
the muscle wrestler guys have to take care of kids. Like every like The Rock has one.
Sort of like that. Not maybe that was too specific, but as far as like style goes, that's kind of what I thought it was going to be. But then I went and watched it, and I thought it was going to be like a little PG rated, like, you know, forgettable kind of a thing. But as the movie started, there was like a flurry of F-bombs, and I realized it was rated R, and it was exactly that kind of movie we're talking about, like a R-rated coming-of-age movie, and it was called Snack Shack. And it's basically about these boys who buy the snack shack at the local swimming pool and then run it for a summer. And it's so full of heart. It was beautiful. It was depressing, you know me. And it was hilarious as fuck. One of the boys was the kid from the Steven Spielberg movie about his life, The Fablemans,
which I haven't seen.
Really good, especially if you're an Arizona filmmaker.
And I love Steven Spielberg. So I mean, well, Jurassic Park. So I
yeah,
have to,
of course. But you know, I mean, gosh, I mean, we could talk about maybe we'll do that. I don't know, but like Snack Shack, highly recommended. It's gonna definitely on my top 10 of this year. No one's heard of it.
I haven't watched a good one in a while, so I'll check that out.
That might be it.
Funny Steven Spielberg story that I learned recently, and then we can maybe give our final thoughts on that. I'm sorry, we've been going on.
This is why you tune into us, though.
This is gonna be it. Just a funny thing I learned about Steven Spielberg. I was listening to some podcast, or maybe I read an interview, but it was when Twisters was coming out, and they were talking about the making of the original Twister.
Oh, I know this.
Is it the one where like the director?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to say it? I mean, if I have it right, where it's like the director was being a piece of shit in some way, doing something that was like made the cast and crew almost walk off the set.
Mm-hmm.
And they called, was a producer or someone called Steven Spielberg, and Steven flew from L.A. to the airport wherever they were filming in the Midwest, Oklahoma, and didn't get off the plane. He walked halfway down the steps of the plane, yelled something at, is it Jan de Bont? Jan de Bont, yeah. And then got back in his plane and they flew back. Like, he didn't even leave the plane, and whatever he said, shut up Jan de Bont, and like fixed the whole thing. And I just want to know what he said.
You pissed off Steven Spielberg.
What did he say? Because apparently the conversation wasn't very long either. It was just like he was yelling something down the stairs to whatever, and then stomped back up and the door shut and he left. Can you imagine having that kind of power, though?
Oh, God. Well, it's fucking Steven Spielberg. That was still a name back in 96.
I imagine, like, his face morphed into the demon that's running his body. That's like, you stole, you're stole.
I was like, God, you got Steven Spielberg to cuss you out, because I know that story said, like, he was, like, dropping F-bombs and everything.
If Steven Spielberg was yelling at me.
Because, you just hear him, and he has, like, that, you know, it's like, yeah, I make movies. You know?
And the thing is, you don't hear about Steven Spielberg. He's one of those directors where you're like, he's really not. There aren't, maybe back in the 90s, maybe like when Jurassic Park and everything else, Schindler's List and stuff was coming out, but like you're never reading about Steven Spielberg and stories about him, other than it's like the millionth book they write about the Jaws making of. So it's just funny to hear stuff like that, because I don't really have an opinion. I like him as a filmmaker, but he's not one of those people where I'm like, oh, I'll never want to meet him because he seems mean, or I don't really have an opinion of him as a person. I guess none of us should, since we don't really know them. But like that's just something that I think is
just
he's so mysterious, and that is like just another thing that adds to his like the power of Steven Spielberg. People bow to him in Hollywood. I would do a whole lot for Steven Spielberg.
But he made films on our backyard, so damn.
Yeah.
When you do watch The Fablemans, though, you will notice that I don't think they shot here. But it's very obvious that Camelback Mountain is.
Is he from
digital.
Arizona?
He lived here. Yeah,
I did not know
Fablemans
that.
takes place in Scottsdale.
Really?
Yeah, and
Can
it's
we
funny
stop making
because
movies about Scottsdale, please.
There's a moment in the movie where they walk by a Cinerama, and for the life of me, I could not know why they did that, because as far as I'm concerned,
there are no Cineramas.
There was no Cinerama in Arizona.
At least California, because I had a Cinerama in San Jose, I think.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that maybe they did approach Harkins at some point to see if they could use the logo for like the original Cine Capri.
You would think they would say no to that?
Maybe they did, because
I heard Harkins is an asshole.
Oh, I don't know.
The main dude. I knew someone who worked I worked at Harkins for a little bit, but I knew someone who worked there for a long time and would talk about whichever location it was that Dan Harkins and his family would come in every once in a while, that they were the biggest pieces of shit. Like everyone hated to deal with them.
Oh man.
So that's just the rumors, and this is like years and years ago. I was
That's
very
so
young.
strange because I met Dan Harkins.
He was nice to you.
Well, yeah, it was brief, but it was on my break at the Scottsdale 101 location, and just sitting in the break room, and then he walks by and asks how I'm doing, and I was like, I'm doing great, Mr. Harkins. Like,
I wouldn't have known. I don't know what he looks like, so I wouldn't. I'd be like, who the fuck?
funnily, he has
Why
a
are you
mustache
talking
like
to me?
you.
Really?
Yeah, he's like this older guy, poofy hair, wearing a suit, and
Well, maybe he was having a bad day, whatever the day.
yeah,
That
we're only human, but that's so strange. But I will say the Fablemans, it should have been the Cinecapri, not the Cinerama. But I understand probably why they did it. Yet again, I wasn't here in the 60s, but I asked all of my family who were there, who would go to the movies a lot, was there a Cinerama in Phoenix? And they all said no. So, but that's a review of Chum Scrubber, Thumbsucker, Fablemans, just every...
The Exorcist, The
Exorcism,
Exorcism, our thoughts on Russell Crowe.
But let's get into our final thoughts for
Okay.
Longlegs. What were your thoughts?
I really, really, really like this movie. It's one I'll probably revisit multiple times. I mean, this will probably be added to the lineup of like, have you seen Longlegs? Oh, we're gonna fucking watch it then. Like, it's definitely one of those movies for me. I want to show people this movie. The like I said, the only qualms was like not getting enough of like, I just like to know the answers. So just not getting like a definitive answer of what really happened at the end. It's not even really a complaint. It's just something. Yeah, I really, really like this movie. I think if you like movies in general, but especially if you like are into making movies, if you want to act or write or anything like that, definitely watch it, and definitely look up Osgood Perkins and just listen to him. I really have been enjoying listening to him talk and the way he makes his movies and like his feeling towards everything. So I think
Does he look like Anthony Perkins?
no.
Oh,
I mean, he does. You'll see a resemblance, but not in the ways I would like.
oh,
And I'm sorry that I say that.
It's
So
okay.
I'm not a mean person, but Anthony Perkins is a very attractive in a very specific way.
You know, I've never seen anything beyond the first movie.
Really?
Really, I haven't seen.
He
two,
ended up
two,
directing
three.
like the last one, I think.
Yeah,
He's in all of them.
yeah. Same thing. Did I ever tell you? I
Seen
actually
one
watched.
and two.
I've never seen anything other than that, and I actually didn't know that was actually him reprising his roles too. I just watched The Omen for the first time this year,
The original.
all the way through. Yeah,
Really? The first time?
yeah. Like I've only ever seen snippets of it. I've never sat down and went beginning to end. So
But you saw the remake, right?
yeah. Well, actually, we watched both of them in preparation for the first Omen. So
Which was good.
fantastic.
That's one we could put on the list because I will talk about that.
Hell
fucking-
yes.
That was a good movie.
Because we've actually been pretty lucky recently. We got a nice string of back to back horror movies this summer.
Lots of religious-ish.
Yeah.
Or we got Immaculate too. Was this year?
I have some things about that too.
It's not as good as I was worried because I'm like these have such similar plots, but
Yeah.
the first Omen was just like so much better than it had any right. Like not that it didn't have a right, but that it
had no right to be that
like
good.
it just was it's a good movie where I have no problem putting it in the lineup with the original.
Yeah, it was a real movie.
Yeah, it was a movie, beginning, middle, and end with like legit acting and writing and a clever and twist. Like there was a twist. They got me with one of the twists. So.
And it's funny because I thought it was going to be switched. Like Immaculate was going to be the first Omen, and the first Omen was going to be the lazy cash grab.
Yeah, because when
But
I
it was
saw the
opposite.
first Omen, I was like, that sounds
Yeah.
fucking stupid. The first Omen?
But like,
I've seen it.
I mean, not that Immaculate was a bad movie. I just had notes about it. It's
Yeah.
just first Omen did it better.
A lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better.
And there's our review of first Omen.
That's my review, our pre-review of the Oven and Immaculate. But that's what I think. Do you want to do Hail Satans? How many
Yeah.
Hail Satans?
Oh, yeah, I'll give my thoughts too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was asking
yeah.
if like.
Are you done though?
Yeah, I think acting across the board is amazing. We didn't really mention. I think Blair Underwood, the boss. I think is really. Oh, he's so handsome. But I thought he did a really good job too. Like their family. Mm-hmm. It's a really small cast.
Yeah, it's like 4 people in there, and
Yeah.
one of them's the killer.
Yeah. It's a great movie. I think if you can go in without watching a trailer or reading anything, it's one of those movies. Like I like that. I went in pretty blind. So
Yeah, and I would say it's pretty late, but you only barely watched this recently, didn't you?
I watched it a couple weeks ago, and the first day it came on VOD, which was like I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, which that I feel like now if I'm patient enough, which I'm not, I could just be patient and just wait for it to come home. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I love going to the theater, but lately I've had a lot of shit luck.
Oh, for Longlegs? Like to rewatch Longlegs?
No, just to watch it for the first
Oh,
time. I feel
I
like
see
that
what
window between like
I see what you're saying,
theatrical
yeah.
release and video on demand. But recently I've had a lot of string of bad luck getting into theaters with just the worst people ever.
That too is like I'm
Like full on conversing in the middle of this movie. It happened with Afraid, which sure it's just Afraid, but like fuck's sake,
the point is you're paying
adults.
money. Let's be
Yeah.
boomers for a second. I'm paying good money to come and sit my ass in this seat and watch this movie. I don't need your screen in my face.
Yeah.
Or your phone lit, or you talking about some random shit. I don't know. I mean, have you ever been in a? You ever hear about the time? Have you ever heard someone like answer their phone and talk? Because I've had that.
I haven't, unfortunately. That would at least give a reason for someone to talk. These people are just straight up like conversing. They might as well be talking about what they're going to have for dinner.
They're
that
recording
night.
their podcasts.
Oh, a live view at our expense. Shit.
But yeah, that's my feelings.
But okay, yeah, no. I mean, I share the same sentiments with Longlegs. I did feel it was a little unfairly built up because I know they did that thing where. What do? They attach like heart monitors or something to people who were watching it, and then they did like a thing.
Well, Micah Monroe, apparently this is a thing on the set. The mic, she hadn't seen Nicolas Cage as Longlegs yet. The first time she saw him was when she walks into the interrogation room before he kills himself. And I guess the mic picked up her heartbeat and it started to beat faster, and that's the heartbeat they used wherever. Oh. It's either used in a trailer or whatever advertisement. It's supposed to be. It's her heartbeat was caught on the mic, like, getting faster and faster as they were doing their scene.
Okay, so maybe I misinterpreted that, but I do know that.
But I know what you're saying, and I hate.
Yeah,
it's too much. You're never gonna live up to it.
No, so I feel it was unfairly built up, and not that I was disappointed, but I can see how other people would be.
It's not scary.
It's not. It's scary in a way that will haunt you, but not scary.
Haunting is a good word. It's very haunting, but it's not. You're not going to jump out of your seat. Really, maybe
just
in that
maybe one moment,
that one time. Yeah. But like, it's going to be. You're going to go home and be. Oh, you're just going to. That creepy doll is going to pop in your mind. You're going to get the chills. It's that kind of. Scary. Yeah. But you're not going to be passing out in your seat.
No, someone might, but they'll probably have pre-existing medical conditions as to why. Very, very solid performances. It's deeply layered. You can peel away layers of this movie and still find something new. I thought Nicolas Cage was cast excellently in this role. He clearly made it his own, adding in a few of his own little personal things, especially with his mother. But also just Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage. I feel that his own image might be working against him, which is why I feel that a lot of the stuff is being made fun of, especially out of context, because you got, again, the singing stuff and I think it's, like I said before, I think it's all done with like love. It's not like they're hating on the movie, but it definitely, like, if you don't know that's Nicolas Cage, yes, it's unsettling. But now I know that it's Nicolas Cage and what Nicolas Cage does on every one of his movies. And he's worked it in every single movie where he has to like scream. Yeah. So, but I again, I'm not faulting it for that. I'm just kind of looking at the cultural reaction to it, and it's in real time because we're seeing, again, like I said, I love going to the negative reviews and seeing what people say about it, opposed from just the positive stuff, because I think I find that more fascinating. And yeah, people are reacting the way I figured they would. But yeah, and again, it's not a fault of the movie. I just find it very kind of scary that I fell asleep twice in the same exact scene.
They got you.
They got me. Whatever spells they said backwards, it worked on me. But yeah, a very solid movie. And it's funny because if you explain the movie just as is, it sounds like you're describing like the most generic like crime thing. But for me, it was all about the execution, because if it was done by anybody else, it probably would have been just like creepy serial killer kills. Whereas this now, the tone of it, the cinematography, the music, the sound design, the acting, just the way all of it's done kind of separates it from being just a procedural crime thriller. So lots of kudos. I did feel it was a lot of greatest hits almost, where it was drawing on pre-existing properties to
100%.
inspire this, which is totally fine because you truly can't make anything original nowadays when pretty much almost everything is done. You almost have to do like a personal remix on familiar stuff to make it your
you also
own.
have to hide it, now,
and which he did. He does. Osgood Perkins put his personal stamp on this movie.
Yeah.
Blackcoat's daughter and this kind of stand side by side as siblings.
Great companion pieces to each other. That's a good double feature. That's a sad double feature.
So now I'm curious what his trilogy is going to look like now with the monkey, which I'm always interested in seeing, especially when they're coming off of stuff like this. I know something else.
Was Toby Kebbell the main actor?
I don't even know anything about it. I just saw like that thing they released. I think it was just on Instagram. I saw him passing. Oh, The Monkey. It was based on a short story by Stephen King. But I know that there's another movie coming out this year by another person who had a movie that came out this year. That is like, oh, that movie was great. Let's see what he can do with this one. And I can't quite recall it, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, great, solid movie. Again, coming out at a pretty interesting time release-wise, because it kind of was in the schedule of it being like in a summer blockbuster block. So kudos to that. I mean, it clearly worked. $100 million. I don't know what the budget was, but it was definitely low. But yeah, Neon and A24, they're hitting out of the park. They're pushing out some good stuff. And gosh, I don't know. I can't really talk it up that much anymore. So yeah, my take on Longlegs is that I quite enjoyed it, and it was a real movie, a real horror movie, a real thriller. Not like. Well, initially we were going to cover Afraid, and that would have been a very interesting conversation.
Crow.
Huh?
With The Crow, wasn't it going to be The Crow?
Oh wait, no, that came out a couple weeks ago. This week
You're
was
right.
going to be Afraid.
Yes, okay.
Which, again, I thought it was just going to be terrible. Like, imagine it's going to fall on that weird story of Blumhouse being releasing shit movies, but still making a comeback or still making its budget back. I will say though, out of the three, Imaginary, Night Swim, and Afraid is probably the best out of those three.
Yeah,
I gave it a solid 3, which means that it wasn't too bad, but it was still like, oh, dang. But okay. So how many Hail Satans do you give Longlegs?
I think I'm going to give it 4.5.
4.5. All right. I'm gonna, my review was posted several weeks ago, and I think I used actually silver balls, like how many silver balls. But I give Longlegs 4 Hail Satans out of 5.
Very nice.
So
not bad.
Yeah,
it's a lot of Hail Satans.
Well, you got a half more than me. So.
Well, okay.
But all right, that has been our episode for Longlegs, and I do believe now that you can find us on.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and this episode will be going up on Podbean, but we'll be on Apple Podcasts and pretty much everywhere you can find podcasts. But it's up on Podbean right now, so that's where you for sure can find it. We'll post the links and on all our social medias. But our let me get our Instagram. Hold on, I gotta. Okay, yeah, our Instagram is just Terror from the. They're both are. It's just Terror from the Closet, on Instagram and Twitter. So we're gonna start posting those. They're empty right now, but we'll be posting those. I'm trying to post like behind the scenes stuff too, like while we're recording.
Cool.
And just updates, general updates.
Sweet. And yeah, well, that's us from Terror from the Closet. Join us next week as we cover. I'm actually really excited about this because this is looking like a really fun movie.
Yeah,
Tim Burton's kind of, Tim Burton, openly stated that he's done with Disney.
Yeah, and I'm happy for it.
I'm so glad for that. Jesus. And if this is like a new renaissance for like Tim Burton going back to his roots. I mean, he had to do it by going back to a previous property, but it looks like everything's practical. It looks like there's fucking claymation in there. And the clip I saw looks very Mario Bava-esque. So
really?
I'm like, yeah.
Okay, I haven't watched. I saw the first trailer and I haven't watched anything else yet.
Yeah, it looks like very, very giallo.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm really excited
so some
for
style.
this. Oh yeah, we're gonna cover Beetlejuice next week. So join us as we talk about that. We're going for IMAX for that because it's going to be the wider aspect ratio.
That's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, my name is Harrison,
and I'm Toby,
and this has been Terror from the Closet.
Gay.